Y'all got me mad. Bills on bills coming in, that been adding up. Say you love me, with my name, go and tag me up.
Thank you, Dan, for coming to our first episode, basically, of It Happens, where we talk about how to basically maintain your health and wellness into older age for older adults here. And you've been in the fitness space, as we talked about, for close to 2 decades now. You've trained multiple clients, if not thousands of hundreds, and you work at depth as of now. I see as a logo by your shirt. Yep. You operate also RX Recourse, which also operates in Mississauga, and you help a lot of clients there too. Yep. I want to start off this podcast basically with a quote here, a statistic. It's actually, I want to say it's scary, but it's just something to keep in mind. So by 2030, nearly 25% of our population will be over the age of 65. So if you think about Canada, that's 10 million people, roughly, give or take. And people over the age of 85, that population is set to triple by 2050. Triple. And the reason why I bring this up is essentially this is going to be a large problem, and we understand that our society, especially Western societies, not just Canada, but Canada too, it's going to be an issue, and as we age, obviously, we're at more risk of certain health risks, and how do we navigate that? So my question to you is that I want to lead into is, what are the pillars that you say elders should look at for healthy aging, whether it's exercise, sleep, or even certain supplements and nutrition? And for our audience, even if it's not just those elderly people, but the people that are taking care of those elderly people, whether they be kids or caretakers, what are the things that they should commit to? What would you say even the top 1, 2, 3 things that you'd say, this is definitely a must, and this is like a non-negotiable?
So that depends. So it just depends. That whole, this whole societal one tip that's going to change everything. Mm-hmm. No, I don't play that game. Mm-hmm. It depends on the person, depends on the situation. If a person has zero social connections, that's the one thing that they maybe need. If a person has zero grip, they maybe need to work on that. They have zero balance and they've never worked on balance and they are susceptible to falling, that. If their diet is constantly putting them into like a diabetic, like a type 2 diabetes, and they're constantly in this state of insulin spikes and they need to dial in nutrition, but they have good grip and they have balance and they have social connection, then it's nutrition. So it just depends. There's not one thing. You can't live like the thing being one tip being a broad stroke for everybody. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. I don't know everybody's situation. Somebody could be having really terrible stress management. Somebody could be, their cup is filled with social and they're fine there. So it just depends. But there's a lot of those things I just mentioned as the things to consider as an elder or the senior. As you age, you lose the amount of social connection you have. You lose the amount of hours you have with family at times, mostly across the board. Unfortunately, when you get to a certain age, some of your friends do pass away. And there's less time spent with reaping the benefits of social connection and being around like-minded people, being around people who are positive, being around people who are active, being around people who are eating well, being around people who are just lifting your spirits and giving you a compliment on your attire and just wanting to just in that social environment. So social is a big one for elders and seniors. I think that's a really big pillar. I think that even adults that I coach, I'm 41, so other 41-year-olds don't work on grip and balance. And those are two things that, as you age, if they deteriorate, you're susceptible to injury. So you're being able to not hold the railing to be able to keep yourself up because your grip is insufficient. Or you have susceptibility to falling and tripping and not catching yourself, so now you have injuries that arise from falling, which is a huge problem for seniors. And then you have nutrition, which is a thing, right? Putting yourself in an inflamed state and staying there and having insulin spikes and having that be part of the equation. These are all things, but it just depends on where a person maybe needs to spend the most time to start and then go from there. So those are general. Caregivers, you asked about that. So there's a huge amount of people that take care of older parents, and they themselves have a full shift of work, call it 8 hours, plus they're a parent maybe to kids, and they have their own social circle and things that they do, and then they also have parents with which they is on their mind all the time, and they're going and physically taking care of them. And I think for caregivers, it's more like making sure that you distinctly, deliberately take time for yourself and your own wellness. So that means not guilty because it's not this or that. It has to be you taking care of time for yourself, not weekend trips and getaways perhaps if it's an immediate caregiving situation. But people get lost in their caregiving role, and they get older and they get sick and susceptibility to sickness because they don't take care of themselves, and they're putting all their efforts into other people. So you gotta like take care of yourself. It sounds like a very generic message, but as a caregiver, that act gets lost because you're so consumed with your role as a caregiver to your parent. And I would just say, that's one of the things anyways, and having coached many people who are in the corporate setting that have elder parents who are needing assistance, is to make sure, you do your due diligence as a child of that to that parent, but take care of yourself as a way to be able to take care of others.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
We'll be exploring the funding of future aging by lead of partnerships and fundraising as the National Institute of Aging. Just a student, I want to find out more.
It's about building relationships with people.
What is your main mission?
Our partner's not quite public yet, so I can't say it out loud, but
we want to, not have this empty water, main core information.
Vaccines to get and, find out more information about them. In caregiving in the workplace.
Workshop in the Humber Valley Church.
Landscape is changing. Giving is all like people give to people. Emotion involved in giving as well.
And now, back to Fit Happens.
Yeah, interesting that you bring that up because I was actually last week I watched a documentary by Zac Efron on Netflix, Down to Earth, as he goes and explores blue zones. So for anyone in the audience who doesn't know what a blue zone is, it's a area in the world where the average lifespan goes over 100. And I was just intrigued to see like how these people live and everything, and a lot of the things that you touched upon in terms of healthy aging, in terms of once you get past that age. It's very unique and just crazy to see like the way these people live, even a lot of misconceptions. Like I also realized this, like how you said, like staying active, being around people. They're very big in that, in those blue zone areas. They have generations, or even in one blue zone, I remember in Okinawa, Japan, they have these social circles that they start from like birth, and then all the way into their 80s, they hang out with the same people. And they even have like these funds, these like collective funds where they pay into it. And then if something happens to one of them in the social circle, they have like an insurance policy, basically, like a collective one. It's actually pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of elements in those blue zone areas, even diet, the way they go about their life, like what I notice a lot too is they're always outdoors.
Yeah.
In Sardinia, Italy, a 95-year-old is out all day drinking wine with his friends, or he's out like in his garden, being constantly active.
Yeah.
And it's just, I liked how you touched a lot about that stuff where it's like, like you do have to take care of yourself, but you also have to put yourself in that environment where it's like you push yourself to do those things, because we as humans were very, how to explain it, social. We're not built to be by ourselves in the end of the day. Right?
It'll
it's very
age
important.
you, and it'll make you sick, and it'll age you. It'll age you more than you need to. So things like tactile things. Nicholas will go over the place. So tactile things like you and your parent going and doing a volunteer effort, or going to work at a fundraiser or charity, is a way with which you could help your elder senior parent get social engagement, get connected, and feel good, and have the positive social connection benefits and relational health benefits. And you yourself as a caregiver is also able to reap that as well. But like getting into your community, finding a volunteer charity fundraising effort that resonates with you. I like working with at-risk youth kids. That's my thing. I've had a good successful outcome from that stuff. for many years. Other people like to do other stuff. Could be a cancer foundation, you name it, but something. And then going to that as a way to get outside, get connected, etc. I think that's great. Obviously, there's like activities and this is not new, but like, but yeah. Anyways, that's a big one. Getting outside. There's more, tips and tricks, I guess, or just advocacy for certain things down the road in the conversation here.
Mm-hmm. So I want to zoom out from what we just talked about also, because these seem also like really obvious things at the same time too. They're really easy to find on the internet, let's say, like at least for me. What are some barriers you would say culturally, societal, like here in Canada especially, that you see that prevent people from these things? Because I've also heard about like elderly people being scared of being injured, they're scared of falling, things like that. But at the same time, these things also prevent those fears from happening. So what's that barrier there that's preventing it?
Your brain, like your actual brain,
Yeah.
and the words that you choose you choose how you talk to yourself, and how you choose to like interpret the world, and how you choose to interpret your own situation. So like, I'm old, I'm getting old, that happens with age, da da da. Like, yeah, you're going to get old, yes, but you don't have to have an old mindset at the age of 41.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be like, the thing that happened, I'm just getting old, and then you just subscribe to being, broken down. So I think the biggest thing, Nicholas, is mindset. And mindset comes with like, well, how do you see yourself when you're aging? So tell me, the words that you choose to see yourself with as you age, what are they? Are they dependent, breaking down, slowing down? Like, are they these maybe sluggish, negative words, or are they vibrant words as you see that vision of yourself when you get older? So I think like your mindset of who you want to be is a very big thing. So how you see yourself will be how you get up and move in the day. But yeah, like those are like, that's just generally. So like, just generally part of it. There's so much, man. There's so much stuff like in terms of what it could be. I think like a routine is very helpful. So having something that even on the days where you don't feel like it, you just fall into what would be that seamless routine in the morning. Mm-hmm. So you have the top 5 to 10 things that you do back to back to back every day you wake up that are healthy and positive behaviors. Mm-hmm. So it's get up, make your bed, maybe you have coffee. I would say for elders is don't watch the news like in the morning. So you're going to think that the whole day and the whole world is falling and the sky is falling if you consume the news in the morning. Stay off the news in the morning. Don't start your day with the worst things going on in the world and be starting your day sparked with fear and angst and not wanting to go outside. Have a routine that is a positive routine for you to get into the day. Have yourself wake up, maybe there's coffee, tea, water, hot, whatever it is in the morning. Read, do something for the brain. Maybe you're having breakfast, maybe you're not. Stay off devices and the news as long as possible. I would say if you're going to consume that type of stuff, do it midday, but don't start your day with the news. And that would be one of the things for older seniors that they have as a habit that they've done for years that would potentially not be a great way to start. So those are a couple things, right? You can dive into more of that if you want. Those are a couple things.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. I never really thought about the news as being like a thing that, I think things that do play on your emotions, that really does influence the way you think and go about yourself too. But yeah, news in the morning, I even realized too, like myself, like when I start the morning just reading I'm religious, so like I read the Bible every morning, or I just go and do something even around the house. It's better than going straight on your phone, going on LinkedIn or some kind of news feed and just being like, you kind of just fry your brain in that sense right away in the morning. So yeah, I do see how that could definitely tie into being healthier. Another thing I wanted to touch upon. You kind of answered my second question here, which is really good. But turning the perspective back onto the caregivers in this sense, what are some ways? Like, I see this difficulty in my family, at least. I have 2 grandparents that are well into their 90s. I have a grandpa who's 97 and a grandma's 94.
Yeah.
They're very stubborn. And I could even tell this right now with a lot of, like, even friends I talk to about their grandparents and everything. there's a certain stubbornness, I want to say, maybe it's just a stereotype I've realized that comes out, but there's a certain stubbornness that comes with old age. I don't know if it's stuck in the way sort of thing, but how can I as a caregiver, even as a grandkid or the kid of a elderly parent, how can we encourage them in a thoughtful and empathetic way to fall into these habits? You know, to take that actionable first step. What are some things that you realized with your clients that worked and haven't worked?
Recognize that they saw you when you were a baby, and you'll be that forever. No matter how many books you read or how smart you think you are, how much experience you get, they saw you when you were born as a baby, and they kept you from dying. They kept you alive. You are forever a baby. So who are you to tell them what to do about anything? So you have to recognize that's very real. Forever. You could be 41 years old. You're still a child to them. So you have to, I think, going into it as a caregiver or a grandkid or a parent, you always have to recognize that obviously there's adult relationships that form down the road, but if you're asking an elder person, grandparent or otherwise, to do something, you have to know where you stand in their lens. So yeah, you're looking good, feeling smart, doing school, everything else. You're a baby. You're literally a child.
Yeah.
And they have seen the world happen for many, many years, and everything that you've done and are going to accomplish has already been done before. So you have to like almost, I look at it like I'm humbled by that in terms of anything that I do that's good in this life has probably been done and maybe even better, right? It's not to say I'm not going to go pursue doing good things and try to have a great life, but it's people have owned homes, people have helped people in coaching, people have done volunteer, they've done it all. So you don't have a profound or like special angle, and so just that alone will help you with like, oh, okay, I'm coming in this angle. Number two is like, well, how do they like to learn in other things? So if they've ever taken up a skill or they've ever learned something, how did that happen? So are they a book reader? Are they a person who likes to be in a group setting? Do they like to be hands-on? Do they like it in big, long batches of 3 hours or a day workshop? Do they like things in small doses? Do they like to do it independent? Do they like to do it with others? Like asking them essentially how they like to learn and do things that they enjoy in their life, their activities, their hobbies, and how they've done that in the past. So how did they learn to be able to do a certain skill that they currently have in the past? And then they're appreciating that for what would be this activity thing and this movement, exercise, longevity thing that you're trying to get them to maybe subscribe to. So just like those types of already built-in habits, knowing that you're going to have to work within their paradigm of who you are in their life and their way of functioning with how they learn and practice things. You can't just come in there and be like, well, this is how it's done. It's like, I don't use apps. I don't do it the way you do it. You're different. And so if you as a young person can understand generational diversity, not like anything else, but generational diversity is an amazing thing. That's a good book for you, Nicholas, that I'll send you afterwards. It's a great book that outlines in corporate the fact that there's a person who's 20 years old that grew up on certain values and exposure to different things and how they go about work and what motivates them, and there's a person in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s all working together. And so if you're looking at trying to have a 20-year-old that values ABC in their corporate life versus a 55-year-old that's getting close to retirement, or somebody who's 65 even, that are totally different generations. And if you think one or the other is going to tell the other what to do, you're missing the boat. So it's like it's a matter of just appreciating that type of stuff. So other things, do it with them, man. Like, good luck telling me what to do. You will not. But let's do it together. Over and over. Make the offer. Make the offer. Let's do it together. Let's do that thing I'm trying to get you to do. Let's do it together. You walk the walk. So whatever it is that you're asking somebody else to do, you do it. Every single day. If you want somebody to live a healthy life, you better be living that healthy life. Don't tell me what to do. It's like a dentist with no teeth or a mechanic that rides a bike to work. Okay, so walk the walk.
That's spot on.
Okay, so I'm proud of you. tell them, I'm proud of you for all the things that you're doing. Pick the small things that they're doing well and say, I'm really proud of you. This has been really great. This is really, I'm using it as motivation for me, and go the positive route. They still need it. They're not immune to having somebody, an older person in your life, a senior, you name it, feel the positive effects of having somebody say, hey, I'm proud of you. This has been great. I'm really proud of how you've taken it on. There's lots going on. There's lots of reasons why you wouldn't, and I'm proud of you for doing that. Said the difference, celebrate the wins. So celebrating wins loudly versus just like outlining things that they're not doing well or ragging on them for things that you wish they were doing more of. Just celebrate wins, man. Build up small, bright wins over and over and over, and have that be a thing that they gravitate to. In terms of like some strategies, maybe for a caregiver or anyone else that's hanging out with seniors and trying to get them to move more, do better with nutrition, have a better mindset. Like, these are small things that I found to be successful tactics.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up the generational gaps, because we also do live in a time where from the 1900s till now, the rate in technology and just development of everything in society, industry, healthcare is just exponential. So you literally have generations where it's night and day in terms of what we had. Like what my grandparents have and what I have now, it's two different worlds, honestly. Like, I remember I was talking to my grandma, and she was talking about how, because she grew up in Eastern Europe, in Poland, just like during the war, World War II. Like, health and wellness was the last thing on their mind, because it was literally survival. Like, my grandma told me when she was growing up after the war was over, she had no shoes on her feet going to school in the summer.
Yeah.
You know, when's the last time I had to worry about having shoes on my feet? You know, or like food on the table. Like, that's such a thing that we take for granted. So I do see how you said, like, coming from that angle of just like, oh, I'm special or something. My grandparents were who are you to talk to me, like, you know, about this or that, you know? I really do see
going
that
on now, right? Like, kids have tough things going on in terms of you've never been more bombarded by different opinions and technology and access to information, and having to digest that and then go live a life that's authentic. And like, you've never been more congested with all that stuff as a young person that grew up with likely access to devices at birth and onwards, like within reason. And it's crazy, man. It's a crazy life for you now, navigating the uncertainty of the future and like still like having hope that you're going to be able to create a life and have like a home and all that stuff. That stuff's tough. But like, and the values of an elder versus the values of a young person, I think there's similarities there. You want to have a life and, you know, be happy and enjoy your time and have experiences and be with people that you love and stuff. But yeah, just like appreciation of elderly life and how much crazy changes have happened in their lifespan and how that must feel for them. Instead of getting that, don't feel like you always have to get these seniors and elders in your life to catch up to you with what you do. It's just like, just appreciate where they're at. Where are they at? What matters to them? Ask them. Hey, what matters to you today? Like, what matters that you in your life? And they'll tell you. Ask them. Don't assume. Speak as a human being to another person the way that you would like to be spoken to, instead of assuming you know what's best for them. Hey, what matters to you? What would you like? What would this week look like? What would be a great week this week? And they'd be like, having soup on Tuesday with my friend at lunch. You know, being able to sleep, watching a certain show. Like, small things might matter, or it might be like, I gotta get going and play pickleball. I want to do ABC. Ask them what matters to you as a caregiver or a person that you know, if you have a senior in your life. I think there's value in just that, and then like going off of that versus assumptions. Yeah.
No, definitely.
The book is called A New Kind of Diversity by Tim Elmore.
Tim Elmore, A New Kind of Diversity by Tim Elmore. Okay, new kind of. I'm writing this down right now. New Kind of Diversity.
And it's all generational diversity, because there's a lack of maybe appreciation, I think, in a corporate setting and just in any general environments. Like, you could be at school and you have a prof and you have a TA and then you have you, and it's like different, man. It's different.
That's crazy. Yeah, it is. That is a challenge in itself. Yeah. I want to pivot this conversation now to a little bit more on the fitness and the scientific. This past week, I've been fortunate enough to really look at some stories. I was looking at one study at Duke by a Duke professor where they had a group of 9-year-olds and tripled their strength in 10 weeks. And it was crazy to me because not only did they triple their strength in 10 weeks, it's 9-year-olds doing weightlifting. And there's a big misconception in society now where I see a lot of elderly people being like, oh, like I'm too old for exercise, or I don't want something happening to me. Seeing that this actually works, it's been proven. And I watched the whole podcast, by the way. It's called Modern Health Span, and there's a Duke professor, and he talks about how he triples your strength in 10 weeks, which is pretty insane. At 90 years old, you can triple your strength in 10 weeks. Why aren't people doing this more? Why isn't this being pushed up?
9-year-old?
90-year-olds.
9-year-olds.
Yeah.
They could have had zero strength, so you could triple zero pretty easily.
Yeah.
So appreciate that. Some people have not maybe strength trained their entire life, so tripling what is like a low starting point is a factor. Anybody who gets into strength training, I've seen people be introduced to a barbell for the first time in their life at 30, and their first year is always like personal best, like linear upward trajectory in the first little bit, and then it levels out, and those increased performance metrics are harder to come by, and they come less frequent. But when you first start out, that first phase, call it your 10 weeks, call it your 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, a year or less, let's say, is always going to be upward high percentage-wise, because you're just starting out. Everything's new. You've never done this motion before. So if you've done 0 and then you did 55 pounds in 3 months, you've just done a huge percentage. So you can get wrapped up in the percentages and all that stuff, right? And it's fine. You need to have metrics and data and things like that about these things. But just like there's interpretation of the data too. So it's like somebody who's starting at 0 is going to have a huge percentage higher amount in 10 weeks. So just appreciate that for that study. But for elders, so why are they not doing it? And why is it deemed dangerous? It's because it is dangerous. If you lift incorrectly, you'll get injured. So what we try to have is like recognize, is to say all the scary stuff out loud. Lifting with incorrect form is dangerous. Lifting with really good form under the eyes of a trained professional is very, very helpful for injury prevention, boosting energy, building confidence, bone density, you name it. Doing it unsupervised with incorrect form, with weights that are maybe out of your range, and movement quality and alignment with your skeleton, stuff like that, that's unsafe, is dangerous. You know what else is dangerous? Laying on your bed and couch all day. That's more dangerous. Just sitting down and doing nothing and having 0 circulation, 0 blood flow, 0 strength, that's also dangerous. That will hurt you. So you have to find the balance. You have to have an appreciation. A lot of people sit and watch TV, they're in recliners, they're on couches, their feet are kicked up and they're not doing anything. And then you have like a comprehensive 2 to 3 day a week strength training program, and then you find the middle ground. Resistance training is not weightlifting with a deadlift or your heaviest Olympic lift, or doing pull-ups, or doing all these crazy high-level skill movements. Resistance training is moving your own body weight, sitting in a chair, standing up in a chair, doing a push-up off the wall or off of a ledge of a desk on an incline, having an incline row, so it's not all of your body weight, but a lesser percentage of your body weight. It is the bands. It is getting bands in your hand that provide some resistance through ranges of motion. They're going to help your joints, ligaments, and everything else feel better. So resistance training is not one single thing. Resistance training is some resistance, and that's body weight, bands, and then perhaps it is kettlebells and dumbbells and things like that. But there's a wide range of like what you define an elder or senior person to be doing for weightlifting that is misconstrued, is undefined at times, assumed, and very much incorrect. And I see elders in the gym working out that are reaping the benefits of having guided, structured, supervised weightlifting sessions. That's appreciating how was your sleep last night, how's your mobility based on travel or commuting, how do you feel right now with your stress. Okay, let's take all that and let's factor that into today's weightlifting session with what we do, pulling audibles when you need to, and then again the next day, and the next day, and the next day, forever. Versus it says this, do this. So there's like a lot that goes into it, and that weightlifting element, and using a study to like advocate for weightlifting could be the move. It's like, what are you not able to do anymore as a senior in your life that you used to be able to do physically, and asking them that, and then working towards helping them do that if they still want to do that. So it's like carrying groceries from the grocery store, being able to move things around your house, so being able to amicably and independently move boxes and pulling out if it's Christmas or Halloween stuff and then putting it back, if it's tires, if it's you name it, but just putting dishes away, all these house laundry, you name it, these day-to-day tasks that somebody might have had and now they're no longer able to do it. That's why we weightlift. And so getting somebody to buy into weightlifting because we're trying to create physical independence with what they need to do in a day, not to be weightlifters. So asking a person what maybe they want to be able to do physically that they once were able to do, as the why and the motivation and the drive towards why we're weightlifting. And then having the weightlifting movement selection appreciate that. So weighted carries, some version of squats, safely navigating, maybe single leg stuff, some sort of push-pull, some sort of press-pull, like very general but functional and helpful for outside the gym type weightlifting things in various forms.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up. I do want to share an article really quick on the screen here of something inspirational about what we just talked about also. It's just funny that you bring this up too, because I was reading this article right here about a 76-year-old. This is a very unique story in the sense she went at 7 years old, went from like looking like you can even see the. She went from like this 2 days dedicated to cardio, as you see, and then she went weightlifting and everything, and she had so many problems. She was on 8 different types of medications. She had acid reflux. She had all this stuff, and then now, like, look at this. Like, look at her. This is she's on the front of Women's Health magazine. Like, look at this, right?
Whoa.
And this just bases off everything that you said, where it's like, not everyone's obviously gonna be like this woman here, obviously, right? But this is just like I want to say like the moon to shoot for, and if you land on the clouds, you'll be just as fine in that sort of sense, right? So
Sure.
Yeah, because I do see this a lot in society now, where it's like people are discouraged at an older age to work out. I even see with my parents, they're not necessarily elderly, but like, I don't know, I'm too old. I'm like, really, you're too old? But like, look at this woman right here, like she's at 70 decided to make that transformation, and she did it.
That might work for somebody. That
Yeah.
might be the worst thing to show somebody. Because they're going to
Yeah.
be like, well, I'll never be that, so I'm not even going to start.
Yeah.
So to assume that showing somebody, if you're getting into Olympic weightlifting or you're getting into gymnastics or you're getting into running, and the motivation is to show like the upper echelon of your thing, that works for some people. Some people are like, well, I'm never going to get started in that because what's the point? And I'm never going to be like that. And it's a demotivator. And that person's an anomaly, and who knows what that person's story is? Who knows what amenities she has access to or resources she has access to? Who knows what her schedule is like? Who knows if she's got any grandkids that she's running around chasing? Who knows what's going on? All you see is the muscles and the performance stuff, and she may have all those things, but who knows? And who knows what her motivating factor is? Who knows about any of the stories about what you see her, and she's an anomaly representation of what an elder person in society could look like, for sure. But she's an extreme of the 1% of the 1%. Most people just want to be able to complete daily tasks around their house by themselves, not fall, have good social connection, feel good, have enough energy to get up and down stairs, play some sports if they're inclined, and activities, They don't need to be doing some sort of like crazy madness that I look at that as being. And it's great, maybe, but it might not be, right? So you just got to appreciate some people would not look at that and be like getting what you get as a young person out of that. They may be like, no thanks, that's not the angle I look to choose to be able to get myself moving. It's something else. It's more. It's more the other stuff that I said. So do it with them. You walk the walk. Vocabulary about how they're doing with small things. So I'm proud of you. You know, outlining and celebrating wins. Hearing about it. Asking them what matters. Right? So that type of stuff. That's cool, but you know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I never thought about that perspective. Also, yeah, or it could be demotivating at the same time. Yeah,
Big time, right? So you don't go to the gym and show the person, like, there are lots of competitive people out there, but others are just trying to check a box in the day, man. They're just trying to like get some, trying to live a good day and stay around and stay mobile and stay moving and live good days like most people. And so to just that, so that is itself hard to just show up on a daily basis in an active way with a good mindset. And you know, the world's changing, so just like absorbing that in a way like it's not the same as it used to be. Technology is crazy, all this stuff. So just, you know, there's lots of different other things going on that are human things that are not just like I don't want to go to the gym. They might not have the money to do it. It's just a lot of different factors, right? To be able to get a coach to be able to teach you to do all those things is going to be expensive, and it's going to be time consuming, and there might not be the aligned drive to get to that video or that representation of a version of that person in that video for a person. They might just need to like work on grip so they can open a jar, so they can like eat food. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's it. So it's different.
Interesting.
You gotta ask them.
Yeah, touching on necessarily not being able to go to a gym, I do have another question here I also remember bringing up is, what are some simple exercises that you've seen that not necessarily have to prescribe to certain people, but that you've seen that elderly people could even do in their free time, and they don't necessarily have to go to the gym. There's something they can do from home that you've seen is a common issue, like there's a common issue with a muscle group or a bone that really improves their lifestyle and their movement and mobility.
One is a 30 to 45 minute time that is distinctly designated for activity. What you do in that 30-45 minutes is subject to change every single day. So don't get so hung up on like a program. I'm going to talk about some specifics, but that for 30 to 45 minutes every day, you're specifically taking time for yourself to exercise. That's it. It could be tennis, then it could be walking, and it could be walking, then it could be walking, and then it could be swimming, and then it could be a hike, and then it could be walking, a hike, tennis. It doesn't matter. Stretching, but you're making the plan to do that 30-45 minutes, and you're accomplishing that task. And then if you get that task done, you get a dopamine hit. That's a positive chemical reaction that you can lean on the next day and the next day. And all you're doing is chasing that earned dopamine every single day by just checking the box for the time for you of having done your activity. So I think that's number one. Inside that 30-45 minutes, I think mobility is a thing that gets lost as time goes on. I think single leg and balancing is a thing that gets lost. I think some rotational and some different things like that are things that get lost. So I just think like having yourself focus on the deliberate time frame in the day of some activity. I think walking, if possible, is a very valuable tool that can be done repetitively with others for free at a mall. It's an amazing thing that will create blood flow, will create circulation, is amazing for like continuing to have your legs under you. I think elders lose their quad strength, so the muscles above your knee, and that inherently has them cause knee issues, and that inherently, if you have no quads, you can't catch your body weight falling, so that has like susceptibility to more negative outcomes from falling, which is a huge issue with seniors. I think grip strength is a very big helpful thing. So holding on to things for 30 to 45 seconds, working your forearm muscles at the top and the bottom and around, and keeping your hands sufficiently strong enough to be able to grab a ledge if you need to for balance, to be able to, you know, navigate, opening a door, opening up food, moving around the house and holding on to things. And like grip is a thing that if it doesn't get trained and is not part of it, it's it. So picking up and putting things down, holding on to objects, getting onto one leg, having a stretch routine that's been like given to you that you can repeat on a daily basis, and walking. Those are like preliminary, like longevity things. And then you can get into other things as well. But I think those are some of the things that might help with any of the audience that watches this.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I never thought grip strength. I always knew grip strength. There was a study, I remember reading this a long time ago. I wouldn't be able to tell you like the exact source of it, but there is this study where it says grip strength literally determines how long you live. Like it's a big determiner. There's actually a correlation with that. They've done massive studies with that, and that's crazy to see that not only does it correlate with your lifespan, but it also correlates how you could also function. So it all comes hand in hand, like you said, also.
Built to Move by Kelly Starrett goes into details, and the book's built off all those studies. But Built to Move by Kelly Starrett's a good book because it ends up going through pillars that are great for longevity, amongst many other books. Obviously, Outlive, The Art and Science of Longevity is a great book. It's well known now, and he's on lots of podcasts. Kelly Starrett's kind of not underground by any means. He's very much mainstream. But he's a big mobility guy, so he's like, hey, continue to work on having access to ranges of motion so that you don't get stiff and gunky and are susceptible to injuries. And here's how. And him, amongst many other people in the industry, are advocates of maintaining your mobility, and that goes in the conversation with seniors as a primary, I think, primary thing for having, like, being able to move in your day, so being able to go up and down stairs, get up and out of seated positions, and then also being able to like have blood flow. So like if you can move and stuff like that, blood flow circulation's good. There's positive things there, but that's a really good book for that. I think I already mentioned maybe in the back end, but like Delay the Decay with Younger Next Year, Chris Crowley, like super easy read, and it goes back and forth with a chapter. So one is the doctor's side and viewpoint of the topic, and then it goes to the author, who's the actual subject that they're talking about, how he's delayed the decay, and it just goes back and forth, and it's a nice easy read that just, if anything, advocates elderly population and people my age and younger to just like think and act towards a really, really solid, long, older self. Just that alone, like just have the mindset of up and at it every day, and it's a really good book for that.
Yeah. We are nearing ending our time, but I do want to ask you one question, and maybe end it off on a good note in a story-like way. So you've worked with many seniors, and I remember even talking to you on our discovery call. You even talked about one elderly lady, how she had issues with potassium levels. What's one story that you had that really stood out throughout your career and your time being a fitness coach that was like, wow, like this is a crazy transformation, and it made you feel almost proud that you're able to help this person get to where they want to be?
Yeah, I feel like if you ever feel proud, you have to appreciate it's like a mutual effort. So the person decided to make a change, and you've just assisted or co-piloted the process, right? So the person, I'm not going to say their name, but I have a client who's 74, and we've been training together for 5 years. And what is great about her is that she's falling all the time, had no balance, both her knees were hurt from years of skiing, shoulder had no range of motion, really, really bugged her, interrupted her sleep. Was a recent widow, so there's the loneliness and the change to the dynamics of her household, and her son and daughter-in-law and their kids were all members at my facility. And so we got into just some light conversation at like a social function we had. I got to sit down with her and say like, what's going on, how are things going? And then we ended up saying yes to like a session a week. It turned into 2 times a week and 3 times a week. We're doing planks off of a box. We're using the pole, like the squat rack poles for squatting. And just always a lot of back and forth. Mobility here and there, some ribbing and joking around. And we just slowly but surely progressed towards like improving range of motion and confidence and carries and grip. And she was once not able to do like her household activities, so she has like a property to maintain with raking leaves and snow shoveling and like I said, pulling out bins and just moving things around in her house or groceries, and she was not able to do that stuff, or she'd have to take big long breaks or have to call in help for that. Now I can proudly say she's able to do all that stuff. She's proud of her physical capacity. She still, she's not fully on the other side of any knee stuff, but she can do crazy improved ranges of motion and strength expressions now than she ever could. She's more aware of like how to stretch. She was going to the chiropractor. That's another thing. She's going to the chiropractor every week for years, every single week. She hasn't gone in years now, so she doesn't have to get her back adjusted. She's just not gone. She just doesn't have these back issues that interrupt her ability to perform her daily physical tasks. And her disposition is great. We talked about her remaining in social engagement. So she's involved in clubs. She makes the plan to go do dinners with friends. She goes and does all these positive things that you'd hope a person does at her age to maintain great days and have like her mind be good and her brain good. And I'm super proud of what she's done, and that's a story that is told with a lot of joy, because it's like that isn't easy, but it's possible. And it is, she decided. That's the biggest thing, Nicholas, if you could have a senior watching this, or you send it to anybody, or anybody has a caregiver, is they decide that they don't want to just let time take the rest of their life. They decide themselves. Nobody tells them. They personally make a commitment and they say, I will do this. And once you do that commitment, really good things can happen day over day. But if you don't have that internal commitment, you don't have and you have just like, you're just floating with the wind, you'll have a varying degree of days. But if you commit and you go and you say to yourself, I want this for my life. I don't want to let time take the rest of my days. I want to go, I'm going to go everything I possibly can until the day I die is going to be towards me living independent physically and having good mindset and everything else. You'll have, I think, better outcomes. And I think that's maybe the most important message is the mindset about my client and anybody else that is working towards longevity.
Perfect. I love that. That's inspirational, honestly. I'd like to thank again for your time, Dan, for coming, sharing those insights and information, and hopefully, yes, I hope I can. I'll send this podcast to other people out there, and add a little bit more inspiration and motivate people with this. But yeah. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
We will be in touch, hopefully, in the future.
Hey, y'all got me mad. Bills on bills coming in, been adding up. Say you love me, with my name, go and tag me up. You won't see me driving my new whip because it's matted up. New with me, oh my God, no she bad.